Hello everyone, this is Mr. Geoff, your edible schoolyard kitchen teacher, and I'm here today to share another part of our wellness series. Today we are talking about mindful movement, and mindful movement can be described as ways of moving the body that allow us to challenge ourselves in balance, and releasing tension, stress, and pain, and really finding peace between the balance of body, movement, and breath. So in our previous videos, I had talked a little bit about mindful breathing and keeping a steady inhale and a steady exhale. That's really important in this mindful movement practice. And I'll run through a relatively quick sequence with you to be able to kind of show you some ways in which we can move our body mindfully, ways in which we can kind of decompress and de-stress when it becomes difficult for us, and ways that we can really find balance between mind and body. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and remove my keys here. I'm going to stand up here with you. And I just want to take a moment and just stand peacefully, rolling our shoulders back, lifting the crown of our head towards the sky, turning our palms forward and slightly angled away from the body. And then just finding that balance point in our feet so we can kind of rock a little bit back and forth and ground our feet. In doing this, we're kind of finding a nice mindful space to be able to set the breathing tone. So we're inhaling, we're exhaling on a consistent pattern, and we're just finding that space here. So we're seeing just in that balance point where our feet are comfortable so we can keep that balance. Our hands being faced forward like this kind of bring a nice stretch to the inside of the arm, and then also allow us a little extra movement when we roll our shoulders back. And then lifting the crown of our head toward the sky and just getting that tone of breath with the inhale through the nose and the exhale through the mouth. We're able to find that nice balance. So from here, I want us to go ahead and slowly raise our arms up over our head and hold this space for just a moment. Breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth. Breathing in through the nose one more time. Remember, slow and steady breaths, and exhaling through the mouth. At this point, I want us to start bending our knees just a little bit and start to bring a fold to our body here. So what we're going to do is we're going to be kind of in this position where we're facing forward. We look like we're squatting a little bit. We've got a nice distance. Our feet are roughly about shoulders width apart, or whatever gives us the best kind of balance in this space. And we're going to bend down into this because our knees are bent. And we're just going to try to grab either our calves or our ankles. And for some of us, we may be able to actually reach the floor with our knees bent comfortably. And we're just going to breathe in this space here. We can drop the head. Let's breathe one more time. So we're breathing in through the nose, inhaling through the nose, and exhaling slowly through the mouth. Now in this position, for a lot of people, I'm going to turn sideways from my mat. But what we can do from here is we can kind of walk our hands out just a little bit if that's possible, finding some balance in that. Step our feet back, and then find a nice space
where we're supporting ourselves in this kind of motion here. So what we're doing essentially is we're distributing the weight between our hands, which are open, our fingers are spread out, grounding into our mat, and our feet. And we're kind of on the balls of our feet. So we can spread a little bit wider on our legs if we need to. Same with our arms if we need to. And we're just going to continue breathing here. Breathing in through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. And if this is too much, you can always drop to your knees like this. So if that gets to be too much for you, by all means, don't do anything that's going to injure you or hurt you or put you in a space where you feel too uncomfortable. It's not about feeling uncomfortable. We can drop to our knees if that was too much for us and just kind of hold that same distribution of weight. So our knees are taking that weight instead of the balls of our feet. Our hands and our palms are still kind of anchoring us into the mat. And we can just sit in this space and find that breath as well. And then there's another motion within this space. So if we're in this kind of, we'll call it a tabletop position. So if we're looking like a tabletop, we can drop our stomach and lift our lower back and our head toward the sky. And then we can also drop our head and our lower back and lift the middle of our back, arching it towards the sky. So we'll go through that one more time. We're going to drop that stomach, lift our head and our lower back. And then we're going to do the exact opposite. We're going to drop that head and lower back. And we're going to lift up the middle of our back here, arching it toward the sky. And then let's just bring that back to our neutral tabletop position. So that's a good space for us to kind of move forward from here. So what I want us to do from here is spread our knees a little bit wider. So take your knees, just kind of open your hips just a bit more. And then we're gonna just lean back into this here. So when we lean back into this, it helps kind of find that space to breathe, to decompress any of the muscles in our body that are kind of tense. And just to kind of like anchor ourselves here. So we can also get a good stretch if we reach out with our hands, kind of anchor our fingers in. This is a good space for us to be able to kind of sit and breathe and find that good openness in our chest and in our lower back, in our hips. And then we can push up and out of this here. And we're just gonna flip around and go crisscross applesauce. So now that we're sitting crisscross applesauce, let's try to anchor what's called our sit bones. They're the bones that kind of anchor in our behind. And we can just kind of anchor those sit bones, sit ourselves up straight, and roll our shoulders back a little bit. And this is going to be a good position for us to get back with that breath, the inhale and the exhale. So the next position that we're going to kind of move ourselves into is we're going to use the side of our arm here. And we're going to kind of anchor ourselves down on the ground and reach this other arm up and over. And that's going to help give us a stretch on the right hand side of our body or left hand, depending on which you started with. So this is going to allow us to open up and stretch just a little bit. It's still a good spot to breathe into. And then let's bring that back to neutral and do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to anchor that other arm and we're going to reach. And this is my left hand stretch. So the left side of my body is getting stretched in this motion. All right, and we'll bring that back to center here. This also allows us, and we'll change the cross of our legs in this, but this also allows us to kind of reach out in front of us as much as we're comfortably able to do, and just kind of reach
we'll feel a similar stretch to what we were in earlier, but slightly different because our legs are crossed. Let's breathe into that one more time. So one more inhale and one more exhale. And we'll walk ourselves out of that. And we can go ahead and change the cross of our legs. So by changing the cross of our legs, it's also going to give us a little bit different stretch. So we have a way, like when we're sitting crisscross applesauce, it's most comfortable for us. So let's find the other way that isn't quite as comfortable. We're going to make it comfortable, I promise. All right, so we'll reach out a little bit and we'll just find that same stretch. On this one for me, I felt a change in the way that stretch feels when I'm breathing into it. And what this really allows us to do is just kind of find that connection between mind and body. Just this whole mindful movement practice. So knowing that, we can kind of come out of that position there. And let's just come back to center. And we're gonna turn into, I call this the cactus. So we're gonna turn into a cactus for a moment. So just put your arms up like you're one real big pretty cactus out in the desert. And we're gonna bring our arms together in here towards our face. And then we're gonna keep those arms together and go as far as we can over the head, because they're naturally gonna split at some point. And then we're just gonna come back to that cactus spot. So let's do that 2 more times together. Let's bring those arms in. And then we're gonna go up over the head. And those arms will start to part and come back to that cactus mode. And let's do that 1 more time. We're gonna bring those arms together there. Up and over our head. And back out like a cactus. And we can drop those arms now. So I just want us to take a second to breathe. We're gonna start wrapping up our mindful movement practice here in just a moment. But in this breathing, we really wanna focus on, I like to set a goal for the day, or the week, or the month, or just in general. So when I'm breathing like this, I'm gonna be breathing in all the good that's around me, and I'm gonna be exhaling all the fears, all the things that are hard to process. So let's go ahead and take maybe 2 or 3 breaths together, and then we're gonna wrap this up and we'll get moving along with our day. If you are more interested in mindful movement, I'd love to share more with you in the future, or you can come to me in the Edible Schoolyard. Happy to talk about it with you anytime. So, but let's go ahead and get our breath back on track. We'll roll those shoulders back 1 more time. Raise the spine. We're just gonna like sit up straight the best we can. And then we're gonna raise the crown of our head towards the sky, tilt our nose up just a little bit, and then let's just breathe in. We're gonna breathe in all the good things, all the happiness, all the sunshine, all the good things around us. And let's just hold that in, because that good is just gonna soak in there, right? And then let's exhale through the mouth, letting out any of the fears or anxiety or the things that make it hard for us. And then we're gonna do that 1 more time. And this time, when you breathe out, you're gonna breathe out your goal or whatever intention that you set in this world out of this practice. So we're gonna breathe in 1 good thing here. 1 good thing that's gonna allow us to accomplish the next, right? And we're gonna breathe out that goal. And we're putting that goal out into the world. So I appreciate your openness and your time in learning these things with me. Mindfulness, mindful movement are things that are very important to me. They're things that have helped me in a lot of ways. And I'm just happy to be able to share this with you. So thank you so much for tuning in to this 3rd part of our series on wellness. So it's Mr. Geoff here, your Edible Schoolyard kitchen teacher. I wish you a great rest of your day.